Mark of the Beast. Okay, we're continuing a series of messages on the four angels of Revelation 14. One of those angels talks about the mark of the beast, okay? Tells us some insight into the mark of the beast in details that are very important. We're going to read those. Now, we do have a whole playlist on the four angels, okay? And so like one angel will have a message and another angel will have another message, but yet those messages are very important and they can connect one to another to understand the prophecy, okay? We do have a whole playlist on the mark of the beast, okay? This is part of a whole playlist. We have lots of detail on this. Now, there's a lot of talk about it. What is the mark of the beast? But there's not a lot of talk about the seal of God. So both the seal of God and the mark of the beast determine the eternity of souls, okay? So both are important. Yet the sinners and the wicked, they obsess with the mark of the beast, okay? And we do have a whole playlist that we go through the details, we go through all of it. Now, it says that they must overcome, okay? So this means that when the beast is on the scene, it's difficult, okay? It requires overcoming. It requires energy. It requires like an athlete training, okay? Being prepared. It's like a soldier in the war. This is the language the scriptures use about overcoming the beast and the things of this world. So when we see this mark of the beast, let's go to Revelation 14 and read the third angel's message. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, okay, worship the beast, and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the God, which is poured out without mixture unto the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of the torment ascends up forever and ever. And they have no rest day or night who worship the beast, his image, and whoever receives his mark of his name. Okay? Now it also talks about the number of his name in the previous chapter. Okay? The mark of his name and the number of his name. So obviously, those that receive this mark are thus branded like cattle, okay? They go into the lake of fire. And this is an eternal decision. Now, what we are learning here is we're learning about what does the scriptures them say about the mark of the beast. Okay? How can we understand it? We have to go back to the ancient times. We have to go back to that type of language, and that's the Greek language the book of Revelation is written in, to understand what do the words mean here, okay? So if any man worship the beast, okay? So the process here is not one thing, it's multifaceted, okay? We have our intro video to the playlist on the mark of the beast. We get into each one of these details, okay? The worship the beast, okay? His image, okay, receive his mark on his forehead or in his name. And the number, there's a numbering of the people. And keep in mind, everything in the book of Revelation, you must look at it in terms of, okay, what is, the beast? Okay, what is the mark of the beast? What is the mark of the beast? We'll use a black stone. And what is the seal of God? Okay? So in order to understand one side of the coin, you have to look at the other side of the coin, okay? And coins, in fact, we talk about coins. Coins is an important thing to mention because, of course, the mark of the beast is something you cannot buy or sell except they have the mark of the beast, okay? So something you buy or sell with is a coin, right? And that's also the language of the ancient times. Christ said, whose image is on the coin? And they said Caesar, okay? So Caesar is a type of the Antichrist, is a type of the beast system, is a type of the Antichrist putting his image on the coin, okay? And so we have the same thing in the last days of currency, okay? In the United States, a currency is, getting us to worship men, the forefathers, okay? And then it says, in God we trust. Well, that's not the same God as the Bible, okay? That's the God of this world. That's the God of mammon. Christ said you cannot serve God and mammon, okay? So God and mammon are diametrically opposed one to another. So you have to serve God. If you do, you do not consider money. So the mark of the beast is about money, is about control, okay? And we must understand these things, clearly what the scriptures say, not about what our opinions are, but if we understand the details, are they happening now? Yes. Yes. They are happening now. Okay? So the details we can see once we look up the meaning of the words in the ancient. Okay? So in the ancient, we just talked about the coin and a seal. So the idea of making a coin, like who's on the coin, you would have the same principle as a seal. Just like you have the seal of God, okay? You also have the mark of the beast. And so with either, what you would have is you would have a situation where you would have an impression, okay? So here you can see a representative of a clay impression that you would put on a document, okay? And then you would have a engraving, okay, that you would press onto the clay and it would leave a name. So both the seal of God and the mark of the beast, the language comes from this principle, okay, of impressing, okay, upon something and leaving a name, okay? That's why it says the mark of his name. Okay, so what we're dealing with is we're not dealing with just a physical detail here. Okay, like, okay, yes, there's going to be something that some people will have a physical thing you can see that can be tracked and everything else, right? But the idea here is, think about this. This is clay. Okay, so when they impressed a document, they had some soft clay and they put it on the document and they impressed it. What are we? We're clay. Okay, so the name of the impression, okay, is showing the ownership, is showing the name. You have the name impressed upon a soul, okay, not just the physical body, but the soul is impressed by who owns it. The 144,000 have the name of the Father on their forehead, impressed, okay, which you can see, and the name of him. So this is what the principle is when we read about the mark of the beast and the seal of God. Both of them have the same principle of whether it be an engraving stone by chiseling or marking something, or by a seal impression and a coin. But let's take a look and let's go through where we find the Greek words of what this means, the mark of the beast. Now here's an app called Bible Hub, which I strongly recommend. I'll have links to where you can get any of the apps we use, called Bible Hub. And there's a type of Bible here which you can see is called interlinear. This is the very best resource, guys. What this is going to do is this is going to show us the original Greek. Okay, so here we are, Revelation 13, verse 16. Zoom in just a little. And here you can see, and he causes all, both small and great, and the rich and the poor, and the free, and the servants, that should give them a mark. Okay, so here you can see the English is in orange, this is the Greek, and this is the way we pronounce it. Cháragma. Cháragma. So that's the mark. That's the word for mark. On the hand of them, right? Or on the forehead of them. So if we go to this word, okay, cháragma. And here you can see cháragma. It means a stamp or to impress. That's why we were showing you the impression on a stamp, okay? Because that's exactly what this word means. So here we can see it properly, an engraving or an etching. A mark provided undeniable identification, like a symbol giving irrefutable connection between parties. Okay, so that's like a brand mark, cháragma, a brand mark, was originally to impress upon a coin or on a seal. Okay, that's why we were showing you the coin, the seal, by engraving on a die a stamp or branding iron. It's a symbol. Later became the identification marker. Okay, so that we can see the ancient documents were validated by such stamps and seals. Okay, so that's what this word means, to stamp something or to seal it. And when we go here, we have the same definition: a stamp or imprinted mark stamped on the forehead or right hand as a badge of the followers of Antichrist. Okay, so this is a brand by the beast to mark people who are worshiping the Antichrist. Now, the word comes from the same as charax. Okay, so let's go there. And here we have charax. Okay, and now what this means is, you can see it, a pointed stake, a rampart. Okay, so this is an interesting word, charax, a pointed stake or rampart, a palisade, a mound for besieging. Okay, and here again we can see a pale or a stake, and this word comes from charasso, and it means to sharpen, to a point, akin to grapho. Grapho in the Greek means to write, through the idea of scratching a stake by implication. Okay, a military mound for circumventilation in a siege or trench. So here again we get this idea. You can see I'm using this little sword, but you're getting this idea of etching something, writing something. Okay, etching something with a point, writing something. Okay, so that's what this word means. Now, when we look at the number, you see the number here is 5482. That's the number in the Strong's Concordance. Now, there's another word which we can find if we go to Hebrews chapter 1, verse 3. Okay, and here it is here. Character in the Greek. Okay, and it's Strong's number 5481. And it's obviously the word we get in English, character. But let's look at the meaning. Character, a tool for engraving. A tool for engraving, an impression, a representation, an exact reproduction, an engraving tool. Okay, so this is where we get the word in English for character. Okay, a person's character. So properly, an engraving, figuratively, an exact impression, likeness, which reflects the inner character. Okay, so the word character is also associated with this idea of engraving, a seal, an impression. Was originally a tool for engraving and came as a die or a mold, like we were showing you. Finally, it stood for a stamp, or to impress, an impress used on a coin or a seal. Okay, this is exactly what we were showing you. In each case, the stamp conveyed the reality behind the image. The Greek fathers used it, character, as the ultimate radiance of the supreme effluence of Christ, showing forth his glory as the second person of the eternal Godhead. So the context of this word, okay, is only used once. Right here in Hebrews 1:3, it says Christ being the express image of his glory. He's the express image. He is the character of the Father. Okay, so he came as the character. So it's not like we make idols, but Christ comes as the express image of the Father, the character, okay? And so it holds, this word holds still the idea of an instrument used in engraving or carving, okay? And again, the mark, figure, or letter stamped upon an instrument, okay, is a mark of a figure burned in, or stamped upon the impression, the exact expression, the image of any person or thing. Marked likeness, the precise reproduction in every aspect. The facsimile, okay? So again, this is the word that the writer of Hebrews is using to describe Christ. By peculiarity, these things are recognized and distinguished from each other, and where we get the English word character. So here, when we look at this word, and we go back to cháragma, we have this stake, okay? And so the stake has a point to it, okay? And the idea is writing something, okay? Now, of course, this is, the larger ones they would use, but think about it, guys. What is happening? We're saying, yes, the mark of the beast is here. We're saying the pharmakia, all right? What's the pharmakia? It's a pointed, okay, stake, okay, that changes the DNA, all right? So we can see the word mark gives the idea of a pen, writing, or a stake, okay? And that stake brings a payload, okay? It brings the pharmakia, all right? So that's how we can see, yes, this is part of the pharmakia, all right? And what does it do? It changes the person from the image and the likeness of God. All humans are made in the image and likeness of God, to the image and the likeness of the beast, okay? And so we see the word in English, character, okay, comes about from this very word of express image or engraving tool, or Christ coming with the name of the Father. Christ said he came in the name of the Father, and the world knew him not, okay? So he came as that express image, that character of the Father, amen? And then what we have is we have the beast coming on the scene, and them deceiving the people into taking the mark. Okay, many people don't believe that, but that's what the scriptures say. We get to Revelation 19. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and the armies together go to make war. And the beast was taken, and the false prophet, that which deceived them that received the mark of the beast. He deceived them into taking the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image, okay? They were deceived, okay? So we have this language of the mark, okay? The cháragma, of the charax, the pointed stake, okay? And the character. So it's the behavior of the people. Now what's going to happen is it's not necessary that you physically have something on the hand or on the forehead for it to be the mark of the beast, okay? Because by the time already, we can see in Revelation 9, the people are beginning to change. They're not repenting, okay? So the beast system is already in operation. At the same time that's happening, the people with the seal of God are not affected. That's now, okay? So the people have the seal of God. Can you see the people with the seal of God? If you can see the people with the seal of God, can you see the seal of God on their foreheads physically? Can you see it? No, you can't. So the mark of the beast is the same way. It's not that you physically see something on the hand or on the forehead. How do you know? It's character. The very word for character relates to the word mark. Do you understand that? Okay. So it is by the fruit that you will know them. So now what's going to happen is if you have the seal of God, the warfare of what is taking place is going to increase and increase and increase. So you will have to know how to use the seal of God. You will have to know how to overcome. Now, as we had the third angel, in the third angel's message, we could also see the end of his message said something very important. Here is the patience of the saints, and here are they that keep the commandments of God and faith in Jesus. Now, what just happened is he just told us about the seal of God. And you say, how? Well, you would have to know that the keeping of the commandments is the seal of God. Because we can see it in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, and all your might. Verse 8, you will bind them. What? The commandments. You will bind the commandments for a sign on your hand. And the frontlets between your eyes. That's the forehead. What do you bind? The commandments. What does it say? Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and faith in Jesus. Okay? So again, can you see the commandments of God? Is it something that appears physically? Of course, the Jews do this when they pray. They put the thing on their hand. They put the box on their forehead, not knowing what it means. It's the seal of God for the last days. Okay? Now, we have some notes here. Let's take a look at the notes. Let's go over this. We'll make all the notes available. Revelation 14:9, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark, cháragma, on his forehead or on his hand, and the mark of his name, okay, it's also called the number of his name. Now we find in Acts 17:29, it says, we ought not to think that God is like unto gold, silver, or stone. So the Apostle Paul is speaking in Athens. Or graven, or a sculpture. Well, that word is cháragma, the same word for mark, okay, by art or by men's thought. So what that means is that the mark is associated with idol worship, with making idols of gold and silver and stone, okay? And again, the mark in idol worship, Revelation 9:20, and they repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils, okay? And the idols of gold and of silver and brass and of stone. So this relates to the statue in Daniel 9 of Nebuchadnezzar. He saw the vision, the dream of the head of gold, of silver, of brass, and legs of iron, okay, and of wood, nor of their murders, nor of their pharmakia, okay. So we have the mark of the beast associated with idol worship. Okay, now when we look at the Greek, the word for mark is cháragma. And here we've written it in Greek, and here's the Strong's Concordance number. And it means a stamp, to impress, a sculpture, an engraving or etching, a brand mark to impress upon a coin. And let's remember, without the cháragma, you can't buy or sell, save they have the mark of the beast. Okay, so that's why it's engraving on a coin. Hopefully this makes sense, why they put the Antichrist on a coin, okay? Because it's part of the mark of the beast. It's a system, okay? The brand mark to impress on a coin, okay? And then, of course, in Revelation, you can't buy or sell, okay? So symbolically, they made this coin with the Caesar on it. So, again, the brand mark to impress on a coin. Remember, you can't buy or sell. Or a seal impression, when the ancient documents were validated by such stamps, the identification marker. And it's on or in the forehead or right hand as a badge of the followers of Antichrist. So this word is only used with the mark of the beast and not the seal of God. And the root word comes from charax, okay, and that charax means pointed stake. And that's where we saw to sharpen, to a point, akin to grapho. Grapho means to write, the idea of scratching. And then we also found a similar word, character, the express image. This also comes from charax, which we see here. So again, as we do our word study, we can now see character, which comes from an engraving tool, a tool of the person, the character. The figure thus becomes the exact copy or representation, exact expression, the image of any person or thing, the precise reproduction, the facsimile. And the context here is Hebrews chapter 1, verse 3, Christ being the brightness of his glory and the express image, character of his person. All right? And again, this relates to the mark being the opposite of the seal. In Revelation 14:12, the endurance of the saints, these are they that keep the commandments of God and faith in Jesus. Deuteronomy 6:5, the love of the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and might. Bind the commandments for a sign upon your hand, upon the frontlets between your eyes or your forehead. So the seal of God is the commandments. Okay? Now, we do actually have something that meets all these descriptions. So that we have the worship of the beast, we have his image, we have the mark, cháragma, okay, and his name, and the number of his name. So what it looks like is that this stamp that includes the pharmakia, it includes the number of his name. The patent number is, I think, 2020-060606. Okay, I'll have links in all this. I'm just going off the top of my head, remembering. And it also had the cháragma, the mark of his name. Okay, and the process is called luciferase. Okay, so it has the number 666. It has Lucifer. Okay, and it has the mark or cháragma, the point. Remember how we saw that it comes from the point, the stake, if you will. So that is where we can see in the pharmakia, in all these descriptions, we would have this worship of the beast in something that would be physical. So this is part of our playlist, guys, the mark of the beast. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.